What if the people you've loved the most were never really there for you, but for what you gave them? What happens when the strong one becomes the one who needs support, and finds silence instead? Is blood really thicker than gratitude, or is it just the oldest illusion we carry into old age? Let me tell you something, life has a way of revealing people's true colors. But old age? That's when the masks fall completely. When you're young, strong, constantly moving, constantly giving, people smile at you. They praise you. They act like they treasure your presence. But the moment your steps slow, the moment your hands can no longer carry the weight they once did, the moment you begin to need them more than they need you, that's when the curtain lifts. That's when the truth appears. And it's often heartbreaking, because there comes a time in life, especially as you grow older, when you can no longer afford to be surrounded by the ungrateful and entitled. Even if they share your last name. You see, ungrateful people, they are never satisfied. It doesn't matter how much you've given. It doesn't matter how many years you've poured into their comfort, how many sacrifices you've made. It's never enough. You raised them, you carried them, you gave them your best years, and yet they look at you now like you owe them more. They walk into your home, take what they want, and walk out, without so much as a thank you. They call only when they need something. They speak to you with a tone laced in impatience, like your presence is an inconvenience, not a blessing. But my friend, don't be deceived. This is not love. Love is not measured by bloodlines. Love is measured in honor, in respect, in gratitude. Real love remembers. It recognizes. It shows up. But what you've experienced may not be love, it may just be habit, convenience, or entitlement. Some of you listening right now, you've poured your whole soul into your children, into your friends, into family. You gave up dreams so theirs could live. You forgave even when it broke you. You stayed when walking away would have been easier. And now, in these later years, you look around and realize, the ones you held up for so long no longer hold space for you. You call, they don't answer. You ask, they avoid. You need, and they vanish. But hear me clearly, your value is not dependent on their recognition. Your worth is not tied to their gratitude. Ungrateful people have a dangerous habit, they rewrite history. They forget the sacrifices. They forget the double shifts. They forget the nights you cried yourself to sleep just so they could dream. They remember what you didn't do, and erase all that you did. And if you're not careful, you'll waste your final years trying to prove your worth to people who've already decided to ignore it. Let me warn you gently, but firmly, entitled people will drain you. They will take your kindness and call it duty. They will twist your love into a leash. They will use your loyalty as a weapon to guilt you into giving more. And if that sounds familiar, if it echoes something inside you, then it's time to pause and reflect. Because in the next part, we're going to talk about how this pattern continues, and how the emotionally entitled can turn your golden years into a quiet war for your peace. They make you feel guilty for not giving them what they want, even when they've given you nothing in return. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you choose to protect your heart in this season of your life. If someone cannot appreciate your presence, then let them feel your absence. There comes a time when you must stop begging people to recognize your value. If they didn't appreciate you when you were strong, don't expect them to respect you when you're weary. Some of you are grieving relationships that God has been trying to remove from your life. You're crying over people who don't care that you're hurting. You're holding on to family members who've already let go of you in their hearts. It's time to wake up. It's time to stop expecting love from people who only see you as useful when they need something. This is the season of your life where you must guard your peace like treasure. Don't waste your energy on those who have no gratitude in their hearts. Don't chase after people who are comfortable ignoring you. Love should not have to be begged for. Respect should never have to be demanded. And hear me on this, family is more than just DNA. Family is about who truly loves you, who stands by you, who honors you, and who respects you. Blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. When you start removing the ungrateful and the entitled from your life, something amazing begins to happen. You start to feel lighter. You rediscover joy in the simple things. You begin to realize that peace is more valuable than proximity. You see, sometimes we think we need certain people, but in reality, what we need is freedom from the weight they bring. Let go of the ungrateful. Let go of the ones who make you feel invisible. Let go of those who cause you to doubt your worth. You've given enough. You've sacrificed enough. Now it's time to surround yourself with people who see you, appreciate you, and love you, not for what you can do, but for who you are. There comes a moment in life when you must protect your peace like it is your most precious possession. You don't have the energy to fight battles that don't belong to you. You don't have the time to entertain negativity that drains your spirit. And yet, there are people who thrive on it, people who wake up each day looking for something to be angry about, something to complain about, someone to blame. They carry a storm with them wherever they go, and if you let them, they'll pull you right into it. Let's continue, because this next truth is one many avoid but everyone needs to hear. Negativity is like second-hand smoke. It doesn't just affect the one breathing it in. It spreads to everyone nearby. You could be having a calm, content morning, sipping your coffee in peace, your heart full of gratitude. And then, one phone call, one visit, one conversation with a bitter, angry soul, and suddenly your entire day is thrown off course. It's subtle at first. They start by just being real, or telling it like it is. But soon they're digging up old wounds, dragging out dusty grievances, rehearsing the same pain they've held onto for years. And you're sitting there, listening, until you realize, you're not just listening, you're absorbing it. Their misery has made its way into your mind. And now you're carrying weight that never belonged to you. Some people don't want healing. Why? Because pain has become their identity. They've worn bitterness so long. It fits like a second skin. Letting go of the anger would mean facing the truth. Stepping into peace, and peace, to them, feels unfamiliar. It's terrifying. So instead, they keep the wounds open. They live in a loop. And when they see you smiling, when they see you choosing rest, choosing freedom, they resent it. They'll do whatever they can to pull you back into their storm. That's why you must be careful who you give your ear to. Not every voice deserves a place in your thoughts. Some people aren't speaking to help you, they're speaking to infect you. They don't offer solutions, they offer complaints. They don't offer wisdom, they offer poison, dipped in casual conversation, disguised as concern. At this stage in your life, you cannot afford to be pulled into their darkness. Your peace is sacred, your energy is limited, and time is not refundable. You need people who water your spirit, not choke it. People who speak light into your life, not drain the light out of you. Negativity will twist your thinking. It will make you suspicious of people who love you. It'll convince you to pick at scars that had already healed. It'll replay old offenses like they happened yesterday. It'll whisper lies while you're trying to sleep. And if you don't protect your heart, you'll find yourself turning bitter too, without even realizing it. Some folks have spent decades clutching their grudges like trophies. Still mad about what happened 20 years ago. Still blaming others for their choices. Still stuck. And here's the truth, if you stay too close to them for too long, you'll get stuck too. You must choose peace over pettiness. You must walk away from arguments that exist only to stir pain. You must silence voices that keep reopening wounds God was already healing. Because bitterness might feel justified, but it's you who pays the price. You've made it this far. You've endured. You've overcome. Don't throw away your joy to make space for someone else's dysfunction. And speaking of dysfunction, there's another kind you must be mindful of in this season of life. It's subtle, familiar, and sometimes it's disguised as love. There are people who only show up when they want to unload, to gossip, to vent, to rehearse old wounds that should have been healed long ago. And the painful truth is, you've tolerated it for so long. You don't even realize how heavy it's become. You're carrying burdens that were never yours, their offenses, their bitterness, their unresolved pain, and then you wonder, why am I so drained? It's not because you're weak. It's because their negativity has quietly lodged itself into your spirit like a stone pressing you down. It's time to let go. Let go of the bitterness. Let go of the resentment. Let go of the weight that was never meant for your shoulders. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to respond to every insult. You don't owe explanations to people who have already chosen not to understand you. Protect your peace. Guard your joy. Surround yourself with those who lift you up, who pray for you, who remind you of the goodness still left in life, people who speak faith and hope. Not just anger and complaint. This is your season to live free, to wake up with a light heart, to cherish the moments God has given you. Don't waste another second letting someone else's bitterness decide your happiness. Peace is too rare, too precious to let anyone steal it. _blank. And as you journey forward, there's a particular kind of person you must be especially cautious of, particularly in this sacred stage of your life. They come with smiles, soft words, and charming familiarity, but behind their charm lies a motive. They are manipulators. They don't see you as someone to love, but as someone to use. They come in many forms: friends, family, even those you've helped the most. And yet they have no hesitation when it comes to taking advantage of your kindness. Manipulation doesn't always show up as blatant demands. No, the most skilled manipulators make you feel guilty just for setting boundaries. They'll make you question yourself when you say no. They'll remind you of what you've done for them, not out of gratitude, but to keep the door open for more. They use emotional tactics, tears, anger, even silence, to control you. They know exactly how to make you feel responsible for their happiness, for their mess, for their poor decisions. But hear this clearly: you are not responsible for carrying another person's selfishness on your back. Some of you have spent years being drained by people who only reach out when they need something. They never check in on you. They never ask how your heart is doing. They never simply enjoy your presence. No, the only time they call is when they want money, a favor, or a quick fix to their crisis. _blank. In the next section, we'll dig deeper into the quiet damage caused by one-sided relationships, the kind that drains without giving. But for now, ask yourself, who in your life only knocks when they're empty, and disappears once they're full again? Continuing from the previous section, now that you've started to say no with confidence and set clear boundaries, you're beginning to see more clearly who truly loves you, and who only stayed around for what they could take. _blank. They create the mess, then turn to you to clean it up. They stir chaos, then expect you to fix it. And because you have a kind heart, because you've always shown up for them, they assume you'll say yes every single time. But let me ask you something: who shows up for you? Who calls just to say, "I love you, I appreciate you, I'm here for you"? If you can't think of many, Maybe it's time to ask yourself whether you're surrounded by givers or just takers. People who manipulate you aren't invested in your well-being. They're only invested in what they can gain. They'll act like they love you. They'll pretend to care. But the moment you stop giving, the moment you stop filling their needs, their true colors come out. And sometimes, that's the best thing that can happen, because it sets you free. It shows you who was really for you, and who was only around for what you could do for them. This is the time in your life when you must stop pouring yourself into people who never pour anything back into you. Stop answering calls that leave you empty. Stop rushing to rescue people who wouldn't even take one step to help you. You cannot keep setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. You cannot continue giving from a heart that is already exhausted. And here's the hard truth: when you start saying no, some people will get angry. When you stop allowing yourself to be used, some will call you selfish. But listen, you are not selfish for protecting your peace. You are not wrong for refusing to be manipulated. You are not cruel for expecting the same kindness you always give to be returned. Only those who benefited from your lack of boundaries will be offended when you finally build them. Be careful with those who only appear when they need something. Be mindful of those who only show love when you're useful to them. Love should never be conditional. Family should never feel transactional. If someone can't value you when you have nothing left to give, then they never truly valued you at all. This is the time to surround yourself with people who love you, not just what you provide. People who check in because they care, not because they need a favor. People who make you feel appreciated, not obligated. You deserve that. You deserve peace. You deserve to enjoy the years ahead without being burdened by those who see your kindness as something to exploit. Let them go. Let the ones who only walk away. Let the manipulators find someone else to control. Let those who were never truly for you walk themselves out. _blank. And as you start reclaiming space in your heart and life, you may soon begin to notice another kind of person. One who doesn't take your resources, but slowly drains you in another way. Let's look at him next. Here is the faithful English rewrite and expansion, by approximately 50% of the original content. Based on your Vietnamese version above. It is written in a natural, emotional, and narrative tone suitable for a professional YouTube video script. _blank. When you finally let go of the manipulators, the takers, the guilt trippers, you think you're losing something. But in truth, you're clearing the way for something far greater, peace. And just when you think the storm has passed, another kind of challenge appears, the people who simply cannot stand to see you happy. _blank. There are people in your life, perhaps close, maybe even family, who never seem to rejoice when you succeed. No matter how hard you worked, how long you prayed, or how much you sacrificed, they simply cannot celebrate your victories. And here's the truth they won't say out loud: your success reminds them of everything they haven't yet achieved. You share good news with them, hoping for joy, and all you get is a fake smile or a dismissive, "must be nice." You talk about something beautiful that happened, and they respond with silence, or worse, a passive-aggressive remark. Some people have all the luck. Or, "you've changed." At first, you might brush it off. You tell yourself they're just having a bad day. But over time, you begin to notice the pattern. They were only close when you were down. Now that you're rising, now that light surrounds your life, their attitude has shifted. They distance themselves. They stop calling, or they try to undermine your joy with subtle jabs. It hurts, doesn't it? You thought they'd be proud. You thought they'd be there cheering you on. But the moment things go well for you, they can't stand it. And the more you shine, the more uncomfortable they become. Here's what you need to know: jealousy doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. It comes dressed in polite words and shallow applause. But make no mistake, it's there. And often, the people who carry envy the loudest are the ones who never truly stood beside you, they just stood next to your struggle. They were content to see you stuck, because in your pain, they didn't feel so far behind. But once you started moving forward, growing, glowing, that's when their support turned into subtle sabotage. Let me be clear, you do not need to dim your light to comfort someone who refuses to turn on their own. You do not owe anyone your silence just because your joy makes them uneasy. You've come too far, cried too much, healed too deeply to shrink now. What God has placed in your life, no amount of jealousy can steal. The favor on your life was never dependent on their approval. And your worth doesn't shrink just because someone else is uncomfortable with your growth. Yes, it's painful to see a friend turn distant. It's hard when a family member roots against you quietly. But take heart, their absence only confirms your elevation. Their silence is proof that not everyone can handle your light. And that's okay. Not everyone can go where you're going. Not everyone was meant to walk through every door God opens for you. Some were only assigned to the waiting room, not the journey ahead. Now, while some people may quietly envy you, others do something different. They don't resent your growth, they just refuse to grow themselves. And that kind of stagnation can hold you back if you're not careful. Let's talk about them in the next part. When your joy begins to offend someone else's insecurity, it's a sign not to shrink, but to rise, because growth, real growth, always separates you from those who refuse to move. Blank, underscore, blank. They won't say it out loud, but they're too busy being bitter about what God gave you to ever be happy for you. And so, you learn not to resent them, but to release them. You start distancing yourself, not in anger, but in wisdom. You stop reaching for support where it's never been offered. You stop pouring explanations into conversations where misunderstanding is the only response. You stop seeking validation from those who secretly, sometimes not so secretly, hope to see you stumble. Let them go, because the hard truth is this: anyone who cannot celebrate your growth is not truly in your corner. And don't you dare let them make you feel guilty for rising. Some of you have been made to feel ashamed for your success, accused of changing, as if staying stuck would have made them more comfortable. But let me tell you something loud and clear: growth will always feel like betrayal to those who refuse to grow with you. When you break free from the limitations they settled for, it shakes their foundation. They say you've changed, but isn't that the point? You are not responsible for staying small just so someone else doesn't feel insecure. You are not obligated to dim your light so they can stay comfortable in the dark. You are not required to remain in struggle just to make them feel less left behind. If they truly loved you, they'd be clapping, not criticizing. Be careful with those who only liked you when you were losing. Be cautious of the ones who were supportive, as long as you stayed beneath them. The moment you step into a new level of favor, they stop smiling and start scheming. That's not friendship. That's not love. That's envy. And envy wears many masks. But eventually, it always reveals itself. So let him watch. Let him whisper. Let them get uncomfortable. But under no circumstance should you let him stop you. You've come too far, cried too much, fought too hard to let someone's insecurity rob you of the joy you've earned. Keep rising. Keep walking in your purpose. Keep being everything God created you to be. Because here's what will happen. The right people will celebrate with you. The wrong ones? They'll remove themselves. And either way, you win. But sometimes, it's not jealousy you're dealing with, it's chaos. There are people in your life who carry a storm with them wherever they go. They don't just bring drama, they live in it. And if you're not careful, their storm becomes your storm. Let's talk about them next. As you begin stepping away from relationships clouded by jealousy, you'll soon discover an even more draining kind of person, the ones who live in chaos and constantly try to drag you into it with them. Blank, underscore, blank. You know the type. There's always something going wrong in their life. A late night phone call, an urgent disaster, a new mess they need you to fix. And once again, you're the one picking up the phone, transferring the money, or trying to talk them back into reason. And yet, nothing changes. Here's the hard truth. Some people don't want solutions, they want sympathy. They don't want to get better, they want attention. They don't seek freedom, because their entire identity has become tied to their struggle. They've been the victim for so long that the idea of taking responsibility terrifies them. Meanwhile, you're losing yourself trying to save them. You're giving up sleep, carrying stress that isn't even yours, pouring from a cup that's already empty, and all for someone who has no intention of changing. Let's be clear, that is not your burden to carry. You can love someone, pray for them, and still recognize that you cannot force growth on a person who is addicted to chaos. You cannot drag someone toward peace if they're clinging to dysfunction. So what do? You step back, you protect your peace, you walk away from the endless cycle of drama. You let them face their own consequences and learn their own lessons. Because if you don't, they never will. And don't be surprised when they try to guilt you for doing it. They'll accuse you of abandoning them. They'll remind you of everything you've done for them, not out of gratitude, but to manipulate you into doing more. But listen to me carefully, you are not wrong for protecting yourself. You are not heartless for choosing peace. You are not a bad person for refusing to be sucked into another crisis. Some of you have spent years, maybe even decades, sacrificing your well-being for people who refuse to take responsibility for their own lives. But you cannot save someone who chooses to sink. And sometimes, the people who aren't dragging you into chaos are the ones quietly planting doubt in your spirit. Who are they? Let's talk about that next. Duo I de la ban dik tieng and cho noi dung da viet lai o tren. Blank, underscore, blank. We've just talked about stepping away from storms created by others, and now, let's talk about another kind of storm. One that doesn't come from actions, but from words. Blank, underscore, blank. There are people who enter your life not to lift you up, but to make you doubt yourself. They don't need to shout or insult you outright. All they need to do is plant a tiny seed of doubt, and they do it with words. Negative words, criticism, sarcastic laughter when you share your dreams, a dismissive nod when you talk about the future. These aren't just passing reactions. They're arrows laced with venom. And if you let them pierce your spirit, they'll start to bleed out your confidence, leak your gratitude, and, little by little, wither the faith you've been nurturing for years. You might remember, long ago, someone close to you once said, "You'll never make it," and you stayed quiet, but that sentence stayed. It followed you like a shadow, causing you to back down, not because you lacked ability, but because you let their doubt become your own limitation. Words carry staggering power. They can build a person up or crush a destiny. And the truth is, not everyone uses their words to uplift. Some use them like weapons, tossed casually. From envy, from bitterness, or worse, cloaked in the name of concern. But now, you're in a different season of life, one where there's no time left to entertain voices that weaken you. You no longer have space for emotional wounds that weren't yours to begin with. It's time to let go of the judgment, the bitter tones, the doubtful lies. You weren't born to live in their approval, you were born to complete your purpose. And that journey continues in the next part, where we'll speak about something quiet, yet dangerously powerful, emotional manipulation, when love becomes a tool for control. But let me tell you something powerful, something that can awaken the deepest part of your spirit. The only words that truly matter are the ones God speaks over you. His words aren't just sounds. They are eternal truths, unwavering and unshaken by people's opinions or emotions. In His eyes, you are not a failure. You are not a mistake. You are not defined by what others have said about you, and you are certainly not obligated to sit in silence while someone who cannot recognize your worth speaks negativity over your life. Some of you have allowed certain voices to remain in your life for far too long. You've let their doubts shape your decisions. You've let their opinions chip away at your confidence. You've allowed their criticism to hold you back from stepping fully into what God has already prepared for you. And it's time that stops. It's time to cut off access to those who only know how to speak defeat into your future. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your journey. Not everyone has earned the right to speak into your life. And if their words do nothing but drain you, discourage you, and make you question the very identity God gave you, then you have no obligation to keep them close. Because when you constantly allow the wrong voices to echo in your ears, you begin to live in fear. You begin to shrink. You hesitate. You second-guess the very things God has called you to step into. How many dreams have been abandoned simply because someone said, "You're not capable"? How many callings have been ignored because someone whispered, "You're not good enough"? How many blessings have been forfeited because someone made you feel unworthy? You can't keep giving weight to words designed to break you. You must be intentional about surrounding yourself with people who speak life, who remind you of your worth, who see the greatness in you even when you forget it yourself. The right voices won't just comfort you, they'll challenge you. Lovingly, they'll remind you that you are chosen, that you are capable, that you are loved. And listen, cutting off negative voices doesn't make you bitter. It doesn't make you angry. It doesn't mean you're holding a grudge. It means you finally respect yourself enough to guard your peace. It means you're done renting out your mental space to voices that only sow confusion. It means you are choosing God's truth over man's opinion. Some of you have been carrying the weight of words that were never meant for you. Words spoken in anger, bitterness, jealousy, maybe by a parent, a friend, a sibling, and even though years have passed, those words still echo. They still influence how you move, how you think, how you see yourself in the mirror. But it's time to release them. It's time to stop replaying those old conversations. It's time to let go of the pain they caused. Because you are not what they called you. Blank, _ blank. And coming up next, we're going to face another hard truth, the kind of manipulation that doesn't yell, but whispers, the kind that doesn't confront, but controls. Be ready. Walking in truth, protect your soul and step into your purpose. You are not the insults they hurled at you. You are not the doubts they planted. You are not the labels they stuck to your name. You are who God says you are. You are chosen. You are loved. You are appointed for a divine purpose. And if that means walking away from certain relationships, then walk away. If that means drawing clear boundaries, then draw them boldly. If it means distancing yourself from those who refuse to speak life into you, do it without apology. Because your spirit is far too valuable to be poisoned by their bitterness. And your destiny is far too great to be choked by small-minded words. You have a life to live, a mission to fulfill, a calling to walk into. So do not let their voices chain you down. Do not let their words define your future. Do not let their negativity steal your joy. Silence the noise, turn away, and listen instead to the voice of truth, the voice of God whispering, You are wonderfully made. I have prepared your path. I am with you. When you choose to truly hear that voice, you will discover freedom. You will awaken strength you forgot you had. You will walk boldly into everything God has planned for your life. Blank, underscore, blank. Life is too short to carry the wrong people. As you grow older, peace, joy, and well-being must become your top priorities. There is no shame in guarding your heart, no guilt in protecting your mind, no cruelty in distancing yourself from those who drain your spirit. Not everyone is meant to walk with you in every season. Some relationships must be released so you can step fully into what God has for you. Blank, underscore, blank. Dove, let go of the ones who bring chaos, who manipulate, who tear you down. Dove, choose to walk with those who speak wisdom, love, and encouragement. Dove, stand firm in the truth that God's plan for you is greater than the opinions of people. Protect your soul, guard your heart, and live the purpose He has set before you. Blank, underscore, blank. Folded hands if this message has spoken to your heart. Don't forget, sparkles like this video to affirm your commitment to choosing peace. Sparkles, subscribe to the channel for more weekly messages of hope and truth. Sparkles, share this video with someone you know who's been waiting for a sign to let go and move forward. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are returning to the wholeness God always intended, and you're almost there.